3 months ago, we said the rare earth element space was heating up, and it's only gotten stronger and hotter since then. A lot of news is broken. We've had China imposed its strictest ever export controls. Donald Trump has threatened 100% tariffs. And on October 21st, Australia and the US signed the $8.5 billion critical minerals deal, which is the largest strategic resource partnership in alliance history. The picks that we looked at back in August, they've put on between 30 and 60%, and one of them's already been taken over. The companies that we're going to cover today, well, they've just got that multi-billion-dollar validation to show that there's more length and legs in this thematic. So, back in August, we identified these 6 rare earth leaders and using our strategic quarterly process and screening. Let me show you what I mean. What we do is every day we rank the themes on the ASX. We created 380 of them, and rare earths is just one, and it was ranked highly. So we drilled down in a bit more detail. We have a look at the leading thematics, the companies that are building momentum, the companies that have momentum, and we rank them every week, and this is the 30/30 report. So we go into a bit more detail. Then after we've identified them from that list, the 30/30 report, we see these blue dots here, which light up and say, these companies are gaining in momentum. Then the orange X's, that's when they have momentum. What does that look like for a rare earth element leader? Well, here's a chart that we put into that August report. Here's where it's showing up that it is becoming a leader and it's building momentum, these blue little arrowheads, and this is a momentum leader. So that's what we're talking about today, companies that power on like this. 2 companies, we'll just look at one of them, still listed on the ASX, went from about $6 when we talked about them back in August, and they got up to $9.20 just recently. So they put on about 50%, good strong run within a couple of months. This theme still has legs. One that was delisted, well, it went from about 32 cents to 44 cents, and it dropped off the ASX about 6 weeks ago. Good outcome for those who are still long. We'll put a link in the video below in the notes. So if you want to see the full details, the structure, the framework that we use to identify themes, we'll have that in the full detail. And that was all before the government signed the $8.5 billion deal to then validate our research. So we're very happy with it. If you want to learn more about how that process works, click on through. Now, as we have a look at this company in the thematic, I should say, rare earth elements, we normally go to these companies that I've put on screen on the ASX to look for the big names. From performance-wise, in the last quarter, they've put on between 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80%. So a huge range, but 30 to 80% is a solid return for these companies that we're familiar with. But the companies we're looking at today have actually outperformed all of these, and that's why they fit into the top 6. So that's where we'd normally look, but we've got a similar movement. But the pattern here that you might not notice, the companies have a clear development pathway. The government alignment, strategic partnerships, and they saw their momentum accelerate. That's the key underlying tone. The one with exceptional strategic value, well, that's already been acquired and delisted. And that's showing us the geopolitical premium that is in action in the market at the moment. So, the 7 companies, they all have similar characteristics, but we're earlier in the development curves for these companies, and the Trump-Albanese deal just opened up $2 billion of funding in a window for over the next 6 months. So let's see which companies are best positioned to benefit from this. Now we've got a bonus one there in there, so we've got 7th place as well. We've got OD6 as a ticker. It's up 95%, and you can see explosive movements, good news, good volume, 96% for OD6. The next one through, we've got Dreadnought Resources. We've looked at this one a few times before, 110% gains over the quarter. Dreadnought Resources. 5th place, we got Bayan Mining and Minerals with a quarterly performance of 113%. And then 4th place, we got Locksley Resources, 134% gains. Now, as we move into the top 3 companies, we see some more familiar names, Australian Rare Earths. Now, Australian Rare Earths, yes, that is one that we have seen phenomenal returns from. But we've got 3rd place is actually Astara, 109%. So, they have the Koppamurra project in South Australia. Holds 240 million tonnes at 750 ppm TREO. That makes it one of the world's largest iconic clay rare earth projects. That's deposited in Tier 1 Australia jurisdiction, not China. Established your infrastructure, which is just hours away from Adelaide, and currently advancing towards pre-feasibility studies. Now, as we move in, we're going to see 2nd place, Fortuna Metals. They've changed the name recently, but they operate in the Gascoyne Rare Earth Element Project. That's in Western Australia. It's targeting light rare earth oxides, neodymium, praseodymium, and That's also alongside their Murray-Darling project in South Australia. They're both strategically located in established mining regions with existing infrastructure. Think roads, ports, rails, etc. That's what we want to be able to get the leverage effect from. Now, first place is a very interesting story. Check out this one day here. This is daily, not weekly. Huge explosive move when it came back on the board. Now, Kaili Resources Limestone Coast Rare Earth projects in South Australia, that's the Murray Basin, they target once again the iconic clay style deposits, and that's across 3 tenements, Lamaroo, Kaili and Cadolia. They're located in the same prospective region where Australian Rare Earths, the company, they've defined substantial resources and have government backing. See the key link here, the government backing. Now, we called this sector back in August. We saw 30 to 60% gains from those companies. That's just kind of the appetizer, because now we've had the deal penned. Money has to be deployed. Where's it going to be deployed? The projects that show the most promise. So this creates a framework for kind of a once-in-a-decade opportunity for investors who understand the difference between speculation and strategic positioning. Now, the bonus podcast that we've got for members, it goes into detail for all of these 7 companies, how they're positioned to benefit from the US-Australian critical minerals deal of $8.5 billion. Remember, $2 billion in the next 6 months. And that's what members get as bonus video. You can join to access it, as well as all the portals which help us identify these themes. So we start off every day with member access to see how strong the market is at the moment. How good are the momentum opportunities available to us as traders? Then we look through at the sector ranks. Okay, who's winning, who's losing, where's that rotation happening? So we can rank this every single day. Then we drill down and find the opportunities. We can look at RSI scores. We can look at moving averages. We can look at congestions, compressions. We also have a coils rank, which helps us identify those little compressions before the breakouts. That's all what members get. So if you want access to that, updates on the thematics, click through to join, and we'll see you there as a member.